with a set of genes that gave me a proclivity to have that kind of desire to be a showy person, but there are
Be another guy to work that shit. Be another guy to work that shit. Little Zukoff.
So it's just some little
Be another guy that work that shit, little boy.
It's never monetizable. It's never something they take into the real world and work.
Oh, what the fuck?
And like the essence of
goddamn, son.
When you're auditioning,
oh, that's why.
You're not showing somebody that you know how to memorize a script. You're showing somebody that you know how to use your instrument to affect an emotion. Whether that be making people laugh, making people contemplative, making people sweat a little bit. You're showing that you can project that emotion out into a big, large, anonymous audience. You're showing the huge skill set that comes with that. And that you have deliberately spent time learning about that skill set and working that skill set. That's what you're showing. Somebody walks in that's never done a fucking audition before, just on a whim, I'm going to try out for a fucking play. It shows. What they present is amateurish, and they don't get a part.
There you go.
So there's no luck. Luck is a fucking an invention of people who are just down bad and want to blame something. That's really what it is.
Shit,
luck
here too.
Does not exist.
Huh. Whoa!
Everybody gets it.
Okay.
There's always a shittier hand. Somewhere on this planet is the human being that was dealt the shittiest hand on the planet. But I don't know who that person is, and neither do you. And you ain't it.
I gotta lie, this is a pretty pathetic fucking tie job. What the fuck? I'm putting this back.
Still have someone taking care of us.
Yeah.
Stuck in the body of a baby.
You're talking about Hasbullah?
I'm talking about someone I was like, literally a baby.
Yeah. There's a guy named Hasbullah who's basically that. He's basically stuck in the mind and body of like a 4-year-old forever.
No, I'm talking about like not even a person. There's a dude that's stuck in my body of like literally like a 18-month.
Oh, well, that's a pretty shitty hand.
So yeah, even that dude, there was still someone with a shittier fucking hand.
This is lame.
Yeah.
Fucking
It really helps hearing combos like this in the
fucking
middle of a pretty
stupid
painful
ass way to
transition
tie up
to
the
completely
shit, dude.
change who I am as a person.
Friend's
Well.
dumbass.
It has to hurt.
Friend's fucking dumbass. Doesn't know what he's doing.
Anybody can tell me what that's from. The Google squad is out right now. They're Googling it. I can tell. Good guess, Legend. Good guess, Willow. Both wrong. You're in the wheelhouse though. Paul, you think it's more effective to work weaknesses or to focus on growing your strength? If it is a binary choice, I don't know. It depends on the person. It depends on the person. It's never ending story 1, not 2. But you're the closest. You're the winner. Congratulations. You get 10 internet points. And that's something you gotta figure out for yourself. Which one is holding you back the most? Are you not playing your strengths enough, or are your weaknesses an anchor? And you have to come up with that answer.
Yeah, dude, my friend's an utter dumbass. He does not know what the fuck he's doing at all with the shit. None of these are connected. At all. Or even good.
Right. And it's not a bias.
It's a piss poor. God.
You can do both.
Leave me to fucking fix this shit.
For a while and then you can move over and start doing another.
Dumbass.
That's probably what most people do at successful.
Kitty! Hello, kitty! Kitty! Neighbor kitty. Zukov.
that's up to you, man. I can't tell you. I don't know your life experience. If you've got a weakness that you identify as something that's consistently holding you back from expressing your strength, then you've got a weakness that's an albatross around your neck that you've got to get rid of. Or at the very least work on so that you can try.
Well, Muzikov.
You know, you got to set realistic goals for that type of shit too, because some people, like, you have a limited amount of control over your weakness depending on what it is.
God.
And so
Pathetic.
some of that means learning to work with
Straight up pathetic tie job. All of this.
but all of that 100%
This one isn't even connected whatsoever.
and your life.
Like, at all.
Oh, okay. The movie in American Splendor. Yeah. Yeah. Well, kind of dealt a shitty hand in life, but turned it into something that made people feel better and make a little money on the side and have a movie made about his life and shit, you know what I mean? Pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. It's a very
Okay.
stream today. It's such a usually rainy, gray day.
Feel accomplished?
Yeah, I chased down a Prius.
Whatever. How to be
Chase down a Prius?
Oh yeah, I feel the
Literally,
best on a rainy
the Prius
day.
was going this way and I was in the other way. And
That is true.
Nice.
Amount of it
Literally,
starts to get a bit
if I
much. I think
do
I
like a
found
full
that
top
in
speed,
Louisiana.
down through here.
But
can't
I
turn
like a
back.
rainy day. I
Damn.
Like a
It
rainy,
does.
gray,
It literally.
It just stays.
No, it floats.
Damn.
I typically have my best days on days.
It's so
like
lightweight, and
front
because
end
it's so
will-
fast, it just starts lifting.
Being all hopeful and shit.
that. Yeah, look at it. And they say you do nothing but humor it up over
Because
here.
most turning radius is
Like,
like
we
get
humor it so
Yeah.
that we can understand
Just
what
some
our
drifting.
options are. That really is the truth. I'm not here to drag people down, and I know I do sometimes. There's people that make a meme of it, but there's been people that I think that have made some genuine critiques. Like, man, I just think
Yeah.
I don't sell trains anymore. It's just too much.
So,
Well,
Cal.
that's up to you.
Where are you,
I
boy?
do the same shit. Amelia will vouch for this. There's just sometimes we'll be sitting down looking at a movie, and I'll just go like, man, I just can't
Hey, boy.
handle this. It looks like this movie's gonna be pretty down. I'm already there. I just don't want to do that tonight. You know what I mean? We find something goofy to watch, or a horror movie or some shit. You know?
Who's a good boy, huh? Little sweet little Zukov. You know, where's your other balls? Yes. You have like a little football that I haven't seen in a while. Yeah, it's over here. Let's do a little ball run, I guess. Find them. Got one. This one. Where's the other ones? Oh, you want to play with this, huh? Go get it. I love that boy. Woo! Run, running. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoomy, zoomies. Zoomy dog. There we go. Okay. Oops. Crazy boy. Don't think I brought my tea in. I'll make sure I get my food and all that sort of stuff. Do. How does it go off, you handsome boy? Forgot to get your food. Arzuka. That's a boy. Suck off! Look at you causing mayhem.
What do you think it is? It's up to you.
Hey, Bandit. Hi,
I
Chungus.
think there are a lot of people out there that misunderstand me, misunderstand my positions. They think that I'm completely and utterly lost to the doom spiral, that I have nothing to look forward to, and that I'm preaching that same gospel to people. I'm just trying to be honest, and that's the truth.
Like you're trying to tell people to spend your energy on something that
Okay.
like tends to
Like we had like the first 10 minutes of
If
this, just
something
me
is hurting you,
dealing with bullshit.
Find something else to do.
But hey, bullshit need to happen. Need to be dealt with.
It's nastiness.
Bada bang, bada boom.
You know, and there's so many people whose lives are worse for being so involved in the social media echo chamber of their choice. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience here. I've been down that road.
What was I about to do?
Why?
I was about to do
What
some-
did it avail me of in the end? It was just
I was about to do a thing.
angst on tap. Dude, I have enough of that. Man,
Oh, yeah, let's
I'm
go
seeing
check
enough
messages.
of
It's got a text
popping
message.
Twitter up first thing in the morning. Why?
Oh, lovely. Grandma and my aunt have COVID. Lovely.
Yeah, I don't know.
Honestly, I can't exactly be too sympathetic for one of them.
But yeah, at some point, I know.
One of them's a hardcore anti-vaxxer and did not take it seriously, and anti-masker and a fucking conspiracy theorist when it comes to that shit, so I don't exactly feel too sympathetic.
You're arguing electoralism. You're trying to make fun
My grandma, though, I do, because she actually did take vaccines and actually took it somewhat seriously, so I feel bad for her.
bails you up.
My aunt, not so much. In fact, she's probably who gave it to fucking, my grandmother. So if anything, I kind of want to tell her to go fuck herself for actually, not taking it so seriously.
For that shit, we talk later.
Putting everyone else in her fucking family at risk and now potentially gonna kill her fucking mother because of COVID.
Join later.
Fucking selfish piece of shit.
Job with you.
Maybe you should have taken the virus seriously instead of thinking for yourself.
Start working with Indy. You're already working.
Stupid fucking shit.
You'll actually see fruit in your life. Something that directly affects you, your family, the food that sits on your fucking table, the roof that sits over your fucking head, man. It doesn't get more direct than that. You can sit and argue fucking theory, and you can sit and argue the efficacy of electoral politics till you're blue in the fucking face. In fact, some people do. But at the end of the day, it's the local shit that puts money in your hand. It's the local shit where you, as a single voice, have power. So don't use
That part's
it,
true.
Go do it. Go be that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care. Like, that's something that I think people really fucking misunderstood about my position in this last major electoral cycle.
Definitely one thing I,
cared, like,
would love, to see is definitely more
don't vote for Biden.
action within the union.
You think it's immoral.
Or action within people doing things locally.
Just don't spend 6 months prior and 4 years after talking about that vote like it was something that changed the world. Don't focus your entire energy of your life on which oligarch you're going to have to be forced to make the fucking tough choice of voting for. Just go do it. Take the time to inform yourself. Don't get involved in the angst machine and go do it. It's been the balance of that time that you would have spent cheering on somebody who's a pro-electoralist or spending time in the fucking chat rooms of somebody who's an anti-electoralist. Spend that time fucking organizing locally. Or fixing up your house. Or changing your fucking living situation. Or whatever it is that's going to make you a happier fucking person. Give you an outlet. Go do that.
I like how Paul's going for pep talk mode
You're going to make a bigger
in his little live
impact
stream right
on
now.
people's
It's beautiful.
lives doing that than you are becoming
Yeah,
Christopher
Paul.
the Mill in the hate machine that is Facebook and YouTube and fucking Twitter.
You say it, Paul.
Go do it.
Try to do a little bit of that every day.
It's not going to be easy.
At least with the union action shit,
It's not gonna be
especially.
fun, but it'll at least bear fruit in your life. I never gave a shit that people were planning on voting for Biden. I gave a shit that I saw people that are actual, like, hard leftists tear down the capitalist system leftists riding with Biden hats and shit. That's what I cared about. An absolute waste of energy. An absolute waste of time.
Like, I think the vast majority of people that never advertise on this shit, ultimately they just fucking make a decision last minute.
Yep. That's the truth. And a ton of people say they're going to vote one way and then get in the booth and vote the other way. It's just pointless to try and get in people's fucking heads. So just stop it.
Stop trying to get in your head.
Most people are low information voters. It's the way it is. It's just what they do.
Sad but truth. Especially at least in America, where so much about our fucking
Anyway, I'm done.
electoral
I'm outta here.
process is
Bye.
just fucking ridiculous and absurd. Absurdity. Utter absurdity. I mean, especially when you got all these platforms that just pretty much like enable and profusely, continuously push this fucking tribalistic nonsense, I say. Well, I actually want to make sure my shit's all Gucci. Yep, okay, cool. Well, sometimes Streamlabs likes to be weird and mute shit, but there we go, okay. I like how my friend's, like, tent job of trying to keep his shit all tied up was horrible. Spent the first 10 minutes trying to fix that shit. Oi. Getting information about my fucking grandmother on getting COVID, that's always fun. And all just so juicy information. Though, at the same time, I'm actually not too shocked or necessarily entirely feel 100% too bad. I mean, it's just like when you're like so hardcore like on the anti-vax train and shit to the point where it's like I ain't gonna get that. No, I ain't gonna be risking just random goddamn pharmaceutical bullshit and blah blah blah, fucking master nonsense. I can't even breathe in them anyway. Blah blah blah. It's like, well, now you're not gonna be able to breathe. Now you're gonna have fucking long-term health repercussions and shit. Potentially ICU. So, nice job, idiot. And then putting the other fucking family member who's actually legitimately at risk, even being vaxxed. Now she's paused too. But, because at least she's vaccinated, she probably won't, you know, be hit as hard with it. But she's also really old, so, great. Lovely. Hey, little Zukov. Little Zukov boy. Little Zukov, what are you doing? Hmm? What are you doing, boy? You sweet little thing. You're just being a hella playful little doge today, aren't you? You just woke up in pure play mode. So it wasn't raining today and you just got all excited. It better be excited for Christmas Day and going on forward from that, because there's going to be snow. A lot of snow. Hopefully. I know you will enjoy that. Never really been around it at all, ever. You sweet little chungus baby. Look at you. Look at you. You balling for ridiculousness and playfulness. Whatever shall I do with you? Whatever shall I do with you, boy? I don't know what it is about Bandit liking that new spot over there.
Yeah, better spot. So good. Ow. Okay, look. Ow. There. You're not
Okay.
going through that or whatever, you're not jumping all up in my throat anymore. I'm wanting you to play fast.
Look at you. You still in play mode, aren't you?
Jeez.
Come here, buddy. Come here. Here.
Ow.
Get the ball. Go get it. Walk. Silly ass dog.
Free time.
Great time. Shut up, Kyle. One string. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, figure I'd start this one up before I do my shit for today.
Battery's dead.
Hmm?
Battery's dead.
Damn.
I don't get much out of it. It's about 15 minutes.
Only about 15? Damn.
That's better than nothing.
Yeah, true.
Better than what it was before.
Yeah, it's true. Ugh. So, I found out that my fucking my aunt and my grandma got fucking COVID too whilst like starting the stream. Not even like 5 minutes in, and I get a text from my mom just really like, yeah, you know, grandma and your aunt have COVID now, and I'm just like, oh. Same ones I see visited back in October in Texas and shit. Curious. One of the states that happens to be really fucked with the shit. Also, at least, like, a lot of the fucking... Not all of them, but a lot of the family members down there. Again, luckily, not all of them. But some of them are definitely, you know, on this fucking anti-vax train and fucking anti-mask train, too. Especially considering it's fucking Texas. And, yeah. I know one of them was vaccinated and shit, my grandma, who got COVID, so I'm, you know, like, I'm still obviously worried considering her fucking age being old as hell, but, I mean, nonetheless, it's like, well, she has at least a better chance dealing with that shit in comparison, and then fucking, it's my aunt, though, not at all, like, she was definitely not one of these, like, mask wearing type. She was, you know, definitely fucking anti-vax and shit. So it's like, when I hear that, and you know, about her, it's like, how much, like, am I really supposed to garner, like, you know, I guess I do, because yeah, it's a family member and it sucks. But like, I mean, who did that to themselves? Like, who didn't take it seriously, and who wasn't the one that, you know, could have actually prevented this type of thing, you know, well ahead of time? You know, because even if they did get COVID, they could have at least fucking, like, you know, have a less likelihood of getting symptoms or fucking spreading it around too. I mean, it's like, why do you think there's people that just, like, you know, pressure so much about getting vaccinated? I wonder why. I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily be like that, you know, in like the little text response or anything, but it's just like, still, like, seriously. If anything, I'm more pissed off that she got it to my grandma who is vaccinated. Which shows the fucking dangers of the shit. It's like, Not shocked at all. Oh, it's Omicron. I don't know. All I know is, like, the literal text response is that, I'm not going to say names, but, you know, grandma and aunt have COVID. That's literally it. You know, it's, I mean, instead of grandma and aunt, it's their names, but it's just that. They, I mean, it's, so, I know that probably will play a role in if they have severe symptoms or not, or even if they're hospitalized or not, shit like that. And oh my god, I'm getting a fucking call from my mom about it. I know exactly what that fucking phone call's about. Ah, Jesus Christ. Motherfuck, dude. Here, I'll send her a response really quick right now, actually. Because I know, like, exactly what that phone call's about. It's like, hey, you know, you got my text, right? Hold on. Hold on here. Yeah, Mom, I know. Yeah, exactly. I just sent a little something. So, Goff. I mean, when it comes to, like, my worries about that, I guess it's more aimed towards my grandma right now. Just because I feel like, you know, I know how and why that probably fucking happened, and it's more angering at the fucking other person who has it, too. Because, like, maybe you should have taken it seriously. Instead of hoping that, you know, God, you know, will be able to, like, kind of protect you with his angels or some shit and fucking, you know, just move on like life is normal or some shit when it ain't. The other one isn't? Yeah, my aunt isn't. Gave it to her? Yeah, probably. Honestly, like, I can't think of any other, real way. Because my grandma really mainly just goes back and forth, to, her daughter's places, which are my aunt's. You know, so it's just like, yeah, honestly, that's the only real way I could think of it. Like, my aunt visited somebody who was, or went to a place that had fucking COVID. She got it that way, and she visited fucking my grandma, or my grandma visited her, and boom. That's how it happened. I know exactly how it happened. Because none of them take it seriously when it comes to this type of shit, aside from a few of them. Life is strange. Yeah, it definitely is. Come on, people, geez. Yeah, no shit. I mean, it's just like... I'm remembering, like, the one or two instances where they kind of, like... You know, were like, hey, you know, for photos, can you take that off? You know, referring to my mask and shit, because I was wearing my N95s while I was out there. And it's just like... I mean, bruh. I mean, I suppose for a quick picture, yeah, but, like, I mean, you're not gonna just, like, tell me to just, like, get off. It's like, it's... Yeah, for a picture, but it's going right back on. I mean, and honestly, there was only, like, one public area where I actually felt okay not wearing one, and it was at, like, the Battle Axe throwing place I was at the last day I was there, because it was just us and the person who opened the place right when we got there. It was just some other chick. Just one of the, you know, one of the other workers there, and that was it. Just one person. So besides us that, you know, decided to go there and have fun with some axes, you know, it's just the one other person there. So that was, like, the only place I actually felt like, I don't really need to wear it, you know, because there's no one there. You know, it's just like, I mean, aside from one other person. But I don't think, you know, at least for that instance, I don't think there's that big of a risk, because, well, there wasn't. But outside of that, it's just like, there's no way in hell I'm not fucking, you know, wearing that shit out in public. Because it was after, like, the first 5 minutes I realized, oh, this place just opened, we're the only people here, this lady's at the counter, you know, saying she's pretty much been there the entire time, okay, whatever, big whoop. You know, so I just, you know, like, that was pretty much the only time I felt like, alright, whatever. I mean, I was obviously, like, even during, like, some of the public gatherings and shit, like, after, you know, like, with some of the folks, you know, I'd wear it a little bit, but until I was actually, like, you know, in, like, a little circle talking with some people, then I'd, you know, have it down, but I try to, kind of, keep it somewhat of a thing. And I also found it amusing that, like, a lot of them really do think, like, oh, I can't really wear these because I can't breathe and stuff like that. Like, I don't necessarily think they understand the fucking, like, irony of that. It's like, yeah, if you don't wear it, though, and you actually get COVID, you're gonna really realize how it's like to not breathe. So, wear it. Because being a little stuffy, trying to, breathe the mask and shit is not, nowhere near as bad in comparison than trying to breathe the fucking COVID, okay? Like, get over it. And honestly, like, at this point, especially for little neck gaiters and shit, they're not even that, like, fucking tight on you. Like, if anything, just because it goes all around your head, it's just like, this isn't, like, restricting or anything. In fact, I would say these are less restrictive than the other masks, just because it doesn't, like, get up around your ears and fuck with that shit. So it's like, if anything, like, honestly, I just look at people that fucking bitch about masks, and it's like, get neck gaiters. Like, get, like, 3 or 4 of those and shut up. Because those are nowhere near as restrictive and aren't gonna fucking, like, squeeze up against your ears and shit. So if that's another fucking thing you want to bitch and moan about, then just get those. Like, they make, there are neck gaiters that have, like, little slits in them where you can put filters in and shit. I mean, some aren't, but some do. Depending on which one you order. Around here anymore. Yeah. I mean, it's more like 70-30. 70% of people are wearing them, 30% aren't around here. But also for the people that are wearing them, they're not, like, necessarily wearing them, like, correctly. Like, they might have their nose popped out of it or some shit, or or whatever the fuck. But it's just like, because I mean, at this point, people are, and honestly, I don't blame people, but it's just like, yeah, but like, there's, like, the whole fucking thing about the whole spread and the fact that the virus is still out there and shit. So if you want to try to get to the point where we're not wearing these fucking things all the goddamn time and shit, get vaxxed. And then also at the same time, like, a lot of these pharmaceutical industries that, made these vaccines free here are withholding them elsewhere around the world and shit. So you got, like, other parts of, the world that, can't afford to buy all these fucking vaccines and shit and have shortages, and we're just pretty much holding them. So I guess, if there's one thing that, some of these people are like, well, you're just, buying into their profits and blah, 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 when it comes to vax. I mean, if there's one thing that's actually technically true about that, is the fact that our government isn't just giving them out to free to all these other nations that desperately fucking need them and can't afford to just buy them off of us. Like, I mean, that part is true, but that ain't the fact. But guess what? It's not because of the vaccine itself. It's because these fucking industries are still, like, they still make a fucking profit out this shit. And they're still gonna find ways to do that, but just the vaccine in itself ain't it. It's more so about the trade and the logistics and all that shit that makes it profitable. They want to make money on that. That's why they withhold it. Because if they can't make money on fucking, getting a vaccine from the U.S. to fucking bumblefuck wherever the hell, then it's just like, oh, well, why do it? I ain't getting money out of this. What's the incentive for me as a manager of fucking Pfizer? We can have it accessible here because we're manufacturing it here, but yeah, people elsewhere have to buy it. It's fucking ridiculous. It's like, I mean, it's like they can even, like, just simply just give the licensings out for free, be like, all right, here's how to make it, and just, fucking, then these countries could probably, maybe more cheaper, get the different materials for it, and it's just like, I mean, it's just like, I mean, they could probably start producing on their own if you just had the licenses, but they patent those fucking shit up, and, so they'll make it accessible and free for, again, the nations that can afford, to, buy the, like, the, patents to get their fucking, vaccines and shit, but that's pretty much about it. Been to bumblefuck wherever the hell, and I don't recommend it. The accommodations are overpriced and have horrible service. That's true. I mean, I suppose that's like the one of the few fuck things about it being free here in the U.S. is the fact that other countries straight up have to fucking buy it from us in order to get it. Because it should just be accessible to fucking everybody. So you got like a lot of people in America obviously are like, yeah, I got vaxxed, woo, which is good. But, you know, then you got all these other places around the world that are like, yeah, lucky you, we can't even get it. Yeah, it's just like, oh. Uh-oh. I mean, this is why, especially for vaccines, they need to just be up. Well, I mean, healthcare in general, but like, at least in this paradigm, like vaccines especially need to just be outside of the fucking, you know, inherent concept and shit about fucking like it's about fucking just general people's well-being and health. It should be outside of the whole paradigm of fucking profit and put directly into just sick help and avoid getting sick. Because vaccines have been nothing but a fucking benefit to society. Utterly. Now that fucking little family group chat that popped up is now going off about that other shit. Wants me to call her ASAP, though. You know, there was another thing she wanted me to do. Like, I don't get this. Hold on. She also wanted me to get her, what the fuck is this? Roll-up tray wraps? Can anyone tell me what the fuck a roll-up tray wrap is? Huh? Like, what the fuck is that? And it's like this long, convoluted, like, little, like, paragraph. And it's like, I really, I don't know what she's trying to ask me. Roll-up tray, new wrapper? No. What was it? Hold on. Roll-up tray wrap. Like, roll up a tray, and then a wrap? I don't... Man, I wish I had some joints to season to be stoned. Yeah. Tends to be. All sorts of green trees being put up, and, well, hey. They ain't the only trees being put up. Zukov, what are you doing? Zukov? What are you doing? I'll give you a treat to avoid whatever destruction you're doing now. There you go, baby. Oop. Yeah. Jesus Christ, the Human Support has a fucking 30-minute video? What the fuck is this? Why is it so hard for leftist candidates to defeat incumbents? You need a 30-minute video to explain a very simple answer, like a very simple answerable question. Well, I guess it's... I guess the answer is technically a lot of things, but, I mean, it all kind of comes down to one root. Money. Like, it basically just comes down to that. Name recognition status. Bumping up literally against the entire fucking system itself. I mean, there's at least a few specific, like, big red flag ones, but I mean, there's really kind of a lot of reasons why. But it all just comes down to money. So our whole paradigm's run by it. So, yeah, that's probably it. That's probably it, Chief. I mean, considering how much, like, genuine, like, leftist/progressive types, you know, like Nina Turner or Bernie, for example, like, it's showing how much they get scuttled from the, you know, paradigm in itself and shit, even with their name recognition. Like, how's somebody with little name recognition gonna be able to bump up against that? I mean, it's possible, I suppose. But also, at the same time, it's like for the ones that do succeed, or who are in there, especially ones that don't necessarily get too much of a fight, it makes me very suspicious. Especially when you have people like Jamal Paul who are like, yeah, I don't regret basically doing fuck all and doing nothing at all. And basically just being do nothing and just saying I'm gonna fight, and then I kind of do it, then I give up, roll over, and just let the DNC just, you know, just pierce me. Just pierce me with this hunting spears. And it's just like, I mean, it's like, He thinks you're a very suspicious one there. Including the rest of them that, you know, followed up with, you know, what she was doing too. It's just like, there was only, like, what was it, like, only 6 of them that actually kind of stuck around to be actually kind of hardballing. So at least those ones, like, at least show me that they at least have some teeth, and if there was just more of them, they actually could be somewhat of a force. Now, a force that I think could be reckoned with, or, like, one that I would look up to be like, fuck yeah with, probably not necessarily, but hey, at least it'd be doing some shit. At least, you know, there'd be some fucking clause if that 6 was 12 or that 6 was fucking 20. Which, hypothetically, could. Especially right now. But no. So it's just like there's literally nothing, like, there's, especially since, like, after the first, like, 2 months of, like, Biden's administration so far, there's pretty much essentially been fuck all nothing that, you know, the Dem side of it, things have done anything to try to keep, you know, support and keep momentum going or anything. And they have their little villains here and there, like a month ago, Cinema, now it's Manchin now and shit, but they're all under the same fucking umbrella. They're all playing the same fucking game and shit. They all got their specific agendas and their specific little results they want out of it. But nonetheless, they're all being played by the same fucking puppet masters. So, you know, it's like one part of me really thinks, why are we taking this shit so seriously? At least right now. Like, at least in the meantime, it's like we should probably really start strengthening our fucking, you know, local resolves and shit. Because, I mean, that's starting to get some momentum. Look at all these different efforts in labor. Like, I mean, that shit's local direct action type of shit that gets fucking results. I mean, that's one element of, you know, starting to kind of build up, you know, a little bit of traction to actually get some more hardcore lefties out there again. Because if you get, like, a strong, like, kind of leftist-backed type of movement like that, especially under labor and shit, and strong enough to start pushing candidates out, not just, you know, here and there, so we only got, like, 6 or 7 of them, maybe, then there's, like, you got, like, 40 of them, you know, like, all over the, you know, the country and shit, and yeah, not all of them might win, but at the end of the day, you might get, like, 12 of them that election cycle, and that's a lot more than 6, or 4, or, like, 3. So, I mean, at this point, like, the national electoralism shit needs to just start getting a shoot and start getting local. Because honestly, as it stands now, I mean, if we look at these, you know, some of these different states, whether for good or bad, I mean, they're showing that results can be done statewide in local level shit. Shit gets done that way. Again, whether it's good or bad, like some of these states in the South are doing it for very fucking horrible shit-fuck purposes, like anti-abortion laws and shit. But then you got states like Oregon that are actually, you know, taking somewhat good measures and trying to do shit. So it's just like, I mean, seems like at this point, local action and local direct action, especially under labor, seems like the way to be going right now. Like, that should, especially amongst the leftist and progressive side of things, needs to start being the focus. Because then, once we get, you know, a strong momentum from that again and shit, then we can actually start getting, you know, these type of candidates pushed up there who are not just, like, rabble-rousy or a little, you know, progressive in their rhetoric and shit, but actually fucking mean it and put, you know, their fucking claws to the table. Start getting their teeth, not just chomp on little bits of the skin, but getting down and fucking breaking bones with their fucking jaw. Like, biting down and biting hard, doing some fucking crocodile death rolls and shit. because at least right now, the fucked up thing is, like, any type of candidate that even on a quarter, like, even at like 25% shows anything like that, will be scuttled. So people like Nina, people like Bernie, you know, Ojeda, Paula Jean, like these type of people and shit will get scuttled for essentially every step of the way, but all these more softies and more willing to play ball with the establishment types, they seem to get through it pretty easily. Or if they do get in, you know, at the, you know, luck of their fucking, you know, draw being progressive and shit, eventually get desensitized and fucking withered down. Trying to, for a local union, I work for a local union organizer. Not only that, but just on, you know, but just on top of that, knowing that there's also, you know, different things just our local union has been doing. Like, the fucking Fred Meyer QFC strikes, that lasted like, what, 48 hours? Like, and the funny thing is, that strike was only meant to last 1 week, and that was it. Like, it was a UOP strike, which those are scheduled for very specific things. Where it's just like, you know, where it's like, hey, you know, if, you know, we're only going to be striking for 1 week due to unfair labor practices, which is what UOP stands for, and, you know, and it's going to be for 1 week, and, yeah, you know, this is part of the, you know, like, you know, the changes that we want done and shit, and it's like Kroger could have easily been like, alright, 1 week to strike, we'll just sit it out, we'll just let you do it. They could have easily just let the 1 week pass and just stonewalled it, and probably, you know, just kept, you know, doing the same shit that they were doing. But within, like, 2 days of that fucking strike going on, they came down to a settlement and agreed to it. Now, from what I understand to some of the information about that, some of it is actually kind of some pish-posh, stupid, like, half-ass shit. Like, I think 75 cents wage increases for the next, like, 2 years or something like that. It's like, okay, that's fucking bullshit. Like, there's some things about that aren't necessarily agreeable, but nonetheless, there's probably other shit in there that is. And either way, it's still a good thing. You know, it gets people closer, especially at Fred Meyer's, QFC's, and Kroger associated brands around here, you know, a little bit closer to, you know, better living conditions and better, you know, standards for themselves as being, you know, working at the fuck companies. I mean, one thing that I just wish I would have seen is that was just across the board. Like, you know, all fucking retail stores that the union represents, from QFC's, Fred Meyer's, Safeways, etc. But, you know, because honestly, it feel like a lot of the shit that they were dealing with, we're dealing with the same shit too. So, nonetheless, I feel like, you know, it could have been across the board, but either way, I think a lot of it was just because Kroger was being more stonewally in comparison to our company. I think it's just because ours are more cooperative, quote unquote, maybe. So they weren't, you know, willing to strike against them as much. Because from what I understand, these contract negotiations that are happening are with, are all, like, kind of, like, collectively with the union heads and all the different heads of these companies. So it's all, like, one big negotiation thing that's going on. So I think that just means that, like, some of them are being a little more cooperative and the other ones aren't. So that's what it seems like to me. But some interesting convoluted shit that I don't 100% know too much about yet, but definitely some stuff I want to really, you know, learn more about, obviously. I mean, some of the basic layman shit about it, it's honestly not that hard to understand. I mean, it's basically just, you know, simple negotiation tactics 101 if you think about it. I mean, on top of what you were saying too with that other comment, it's like, I mean, one thing why I especially try to kind of walk a little more and shit is just because I feel like there's just legit are too many, like, bread tubers or lefties and shit that just really just talk it but never actually fundamentally try to do shit. You know, it's why, you know, we got, like, Radical Disability, while, you know, it's quote-unquote tanky. I know lefties are fond of tankies. Like, I actually respect it because he walks the walk, too. Like, he has, like, a little website that, you know, like, showing some of the shit. So it's just like, I actually can respect that shit. It's like, I mean, how can you, like, dog on, you know, despite whatever fucking beliefs they might have and shit, if they're at least trying to fucking put forth the fucking effort? I mean, at that point, I mean, I'm like, they're at least, you know, they're doing more than, you know, the person just sitting on the internet tweeting about shit. You know, so it's just like, that's, you know, really just comes down to that. It's like, you know, because for me, it's like, I don't mind if people are obviously being like vocally active about shit. That's one thing about all of that, you know, about the whole action aspect, is to talk about it. But it doesn't mean shit if you don't actually do anything about it. Like, it's nice to talk about it, but you actually have to fucking put time and effort to put that into execution. I mean, obviously, there may be some people don't necessarily have, you know, those options or abilities. Like, there's definitely some people that just live in a neighborhood or a town that just has literally no unions, and there's no, like, cohesive, you know, strong industry or anything like that. It's just, like, kind of this sad, forgotten place. And it's like, how... outside of, like, you know, straight fucking state/fed assistance or fucking, like, massive works on, like, some, you know, like, bill to really rebuild not just that town, but plenty, like, thousands of others exactly like that, you know, unfortunately, there's not really much that one person could do aside from just being vocal / you know, being like, hey, you know, just try to spread a word around that town and hopefully try to get whatever's left of the commerce and populace there to, you know, try to, you know, rebuild whatever's left, essentially. You know, so it's at least more comfortable instead of being utterly, totally impoverished and shit. But, you know, because at the end of the day, you can only do so much of what you got. But, you know, sometimes those options also, I mean, sometimes, I mean, there are options out there that, you know, in order to get to some of that, you kind of have to go off the seat of your pants and do some radical different shit that you didn't think you might do. That doesn't necessarily mean, like, go off into streets or something like that and fucking, you know, fight the fight or something, but it can mean like, oh, well, maybe I should just, you know, maybe move to a different location that has some prime opportunity to, you know, get something like this growing, and maybe I could come back and fucking, you know, get that spread here or some shit, or fucking whatever the fuck, you know, something like that. Or just like, well, maybe I'll move out here and then, you know, like go in this part of the neighborhood and shit where it's a little bit more, you know, comfortable and shit, but, you know, while being out seeing my pants, and then fucking try to, you know, build a little something more up here, you know, at least while still being in town. You know, just different shit like that. Or just, I mean, there could be all sorts of various different options that, you know, aren't necessarily, you know, considered just because, like, oh, I don't want to risk it. But you gotta have to risk it for the biscuit. I mean, especially when it comes to labor and unionization, like, there is a lot of risk, especially when it comes into, you know, trying to do that for a non-unionized workplace. Because most companies will fucking do anything and everything they can to keep that shit dead in the water. From, like, not even from the get-go. They'll try to do that before it even gets started. Now, there's very rarely you'll find companies, I think the first gaming development company, Velero, I think it's called. I think they're the first gaming development company to unionize, and they actually, the management of that, they were actually okay with it. They were totally fine with it, and in fact, they were open to letting the unionizers come in and, you know, talk with everybody and shit. Like, it's like a unicorn for a company to be like that. It's pretty much a fucking unicorn. But sometimes you might get lucky and get that unicorn, you know? Sometimes you might. But especially for these big, fat corporate brands and shit, and these corporate chains, they are not like that at all. They're quite the opposite. You know, actually, let me try to see if I remember hearing it on the Rational National, where I saw something about that. Let me see if I can find it. It wasn't too long ago. Yeah, here it is. I'll skip to it. Right here? Is it this one?
Is a great.
Okay, Vodio. North America has its first video game union at Vodio. So it's a VODEO. Vodio. Vodio Games. So, first video game union right there. Which, based. Gamers rise up, baby. I'm honestly been an advocate of that for quite a while. I mean, at least for myself. Even before I was, like, kind of into hardcore labor and shit. Because, honestly, gaming developers is some of the most fucked up, like, industries right now. You probably want to think it, but it really is. I mean, especially when it came to, like, some of the shit that came out to getting Red Dead Redemption 2 out, like, how the fucking gaming developers were horribly mistreated just to get that shit out. It's like, man. I mean, it really just shows, and also, if you look at that game, there was a lot of stuff that was cut, too. So it's just like, man, oh, that's also fucked. Like, the game wasn't even, like, if you think about, like, the whole Guarma, like, section of the game, it was meant to be a lot more bigger and fuller, but they cut that. It's like, so it's just like, man, they work these motherfuckers so hard, add all this shit, and then they end up cutting a lot of different stuff anyway, because, we need to make sure it gets out at a specific time, so it looks like we're not going to be able to make it as full as we want, even though we overworked you to the fucking bone to get that, so cut it. It's like, man, it's like, it shows how shitty, you know, these type of fucking developers are. They'll overwork these people to the bone and shit to, like, get pretty much beyond the expectation thing, and then just cut everything that, that fucking, they don't necessarily want, because it's like, filler content, just to get it, past the deadline, or get it, at the deadline of release. Instead of actually just taking their time to develop it and not overworking their fucking game developers and shit. Because honestly, if Red Dead Redemption 2 took, instead of 8 years, but 10 to fucking release, I would have been fine with it. Because honestly, it would have made a full-fledged out, like, even bigger, better, fucking, probably even more of a beautiful game, if you think about it. Like, it's already, like, such a phenomenal game as it is, but, I mean, like, think about if they took, like, 1 or 2 more years and didn't overwork their fucking, game developers and allow them to, fill up the game even more so than it already is, like they did. I mean, it's just like, it probably legit would probably be, like, reoccurring Game of the Year, probably. Legit. And honestly, it was kind of a sin that it didn't get a Game of the Year when it was released initially in the first place. That was pretty fucked. I think Gods of War got it. It's like, man, really? That's a little fucked. Zukoff. What you doing, baby? Come down a little treat. Rockstar's funding a movie based on Red Dead Redemption. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna, like, well, it's pretty cool, but, I mean, it depends on, like, how they do it. Like, they're gonna, like, honestly, I feel like they need to kind of go, like, the actual Rockstar style fucking, like, way of doing Red Dead. Like, they should probably have, like, fucking, why do I keep thinking Danny DeVito when I'm thinking of the fucking director, goddamn fucking motherfucking, oh my god, why am I blanking on the name now? Oh my god. Quentin Tarantino. Why do I think Danny DeVito when I'm thinking of Quentin Tarantino? I've done this multiple times in the past before. What the fuck? Quentin Tarantino. Jesus Christ. They should have him at least, be consulting, because, I mean, I'm thinking about Django Unchained, and also a pretty fun little Western movie, honestly, and I really like that about it. So it's just like, they should have him at least, kind of be a partial consultant or something. Or at least, be involved in some way. Because I feel like that would help, get a quality boost, potentially, there. Maybe, I feel like, I mean, because honestly, I think that could either be really good or really shitty. This is a game based on the new Doom coming out. I heard about that, which I'm pretty excited about. I think it'd be like the first Doom-related game in a long time. Like a long, long time. So, I'm here for it. Honestly, that's just what, like, sci-fi needed. It needed a fucking, like re-inspiration and shit from Doom. Because there's going to be a lot of cool shit that's going to come out because Doom came out. First Doom game in over 20 years. Yeah, exactly. 2 decades. So, I mean, like I said, I'm here for it. I'm honestly, knowing game developers these days, I have a hint of nervousness that it's probably going to get butchered in some way. But I feel like if the developers know what the fuck they have and are smart about it, they won't. I mean, honestly, there has been pretty decent games. Like, from what I can tell from, like, the Halo community, Halo Infinite is pretty fucking, like, amazing, and everyone loves that. And I don't know when that came out, but I think that just recently came out. And everyone's been, you know, really into that shit. Which, you know, so it's just, like... In Battlefield 2042, like, people have been really enjoying that. From what I can tell, there's been, like, somewhat mixed results. Some people have complaints, but most people don't. So, I mean... It seems like, I mean, it's not like... I feel like some of these game developers are starting to kind of realize, hey, we should actually probably, you know, cater to our base a little bit, you know, so at least this time around, it seems like video games haven't really been as shitty. Like, Vanguard's the only one that I've seen actually get fucked on really hard, because it's basically just a reskin of the last two Call of Duties, and honestly, especially with the gunsmith in that game, it's fucking cringe. Like, I honestly don't even know why they had a gunsmith in that game. Like, I get, yeah, customization, bro, but, like, they should have just did that with, like, cosmetics of, like, you know, your operators or whatever. They should have just kept it with that. Because I'm not even kidding. Like, some of the guns that they have that you can customize, some of the options for them literally don't, like, it literally makes the gun not operable. Like, the Sturmgewehr 44, the STG 44, like, some of the mechanism for the bolt to work for the weapon to fire isn't a stock of the weapon. So if you have a like no stock STG 44 or a folding stock STG 44, I shit you the fuck not, that gun is not going to fire. It's basically a fucking prop. It's just a fucking hunk of metal you could chuck at somebody. Like, I mean, that's basically it. Like, I mean, without the fucking buttstock of the weapon that has some of the blowback mechanism for the bolt and shit, it's like there's legit no fucking way for that gun to fire. So you have to have that buttstock of the STG-44 in order for it to fire. So it's like, and in that game, there's like 5,000 different ways you could butcher that gun to, in real life, would make it non-functional and just a hunk of metal. But in that game, oh, it just works just fine. You know, oh yeah, it shoots just like it normally would. Oh, then the machine Gewehr 42. Oh god. The ways you can butcher that gun in the gunsmith it actually makes me cry. Like, for some reason, there's a wooden foregrip that's essentially just a Tommy gun foregrip. Like, for some reason, they love their wooden Tommy gun foregrips, and pretty much, like, every gun can get that. It's just like, why? There's, like, a foregrip for an MP40 when there's already a foregrip for that gun. It's in the magwell. The magwell's the foregrip. It's like, oh my god, and they have, like, the sheet metal foregrip you can have as an attachment. It's like, why? That's literally... They should never have had that. Like, honestly, I feel like Vanguard would have been okay and just kind of mediocre if they just did not do the gunsmith, because everyone is just realizing how horrible the game is just with that alone. Like, every time I hear people fuck on that game, it's that. It's pretty much that. So they should have just never added it in the first place. It's just bad. Like, Cold War and Modern Warfare, like, that's fine, because even with the, like, cursed gun loadouts you can do in those games, like, at least to some extent, it can at least be functional regardless, even in real life. You know, so it's just like, even there, you know, it's like, shit. Like, at least even the cursed guns would kind of make sense. Honestly, there's only one gun in Vanguard that I saw as a cursed gun that actually looked okay, but still not practical nor realistic for World War II, was the M1911, because you can have, like, an extended mag, you can have, like, a little optic, you know, like, sport shooter sight or some shit. You can get, like, you know, the extended barrel compensator attachment thing on it, and it just looks like a fucking tactical M1911 that you would see at, like, some sport competition shooting or some shit. It's like, okay, well, I mean, hell, maybe that, you know, realistically probably was built, you know, at the time, you know, for sport competition shooters, but not for World War II. It just would have been a standard, typical M1911, you know? It's just like, not this weird sport shooting fucking hipster fucking M19, like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ. Or Vanguard's selling very poorly. I wonder why. Because a few unfortunate pre-buyers before release, or like pre-release buyers / people who bought it on release, I don't think they realized what they were getting themselves into. So ever since then, people just went, nope. I'd rather play Call of Duty World War II versus Vanguard, honestly, from what I can understand. Like, honestly, like, the single-player Vanguard looks okay, but, I don't want to play it for the fucking Soviet, like, missions, essentially. Because, honestly, the only character I actually kind of like from what I've seen of, like, the different cutscenes and the gameplay of it is, like, the ones where you're playing, the Soviet sniper. Because she's actually, like, out of all of them, she seems the most realistic character developed, strangely enough. I mean, because female snipers in World War II were very much a thing in the Soviet Union. In fact, one of them killed over 300 of them, Lumina Pevchenko. She's quite famous for it. I mean, so, you know, it's just like, you got that, and then, you know, it's just like, you know, so that's accurate. She wasn't, like, doing some crazy-ass fucking weird quips, you know, she was, just doing this meh. I think of World War... No, I'm talking about Vanguard still. I know World War II doesn't have a Soviet campaign, it's an American one. One that kind of is just cheesy as fuck, and also the gameplay is cheesy as fuck, but nonetheless. And that's so stupid, too, is that they have Soviet weapons, but they don't have Soviet campaign. It's like, in my... like, honestly, one thing I liked about Battlefield 5, at least, is that they had a German campaign. One of these Call of Duties and one of these games should do that. Like, I mean, I'll give Vanguard this. It didn't really, like, hide, you know, Indian swastikas or kind of all that type of shit or whatever the fuck, just out of, you know, market value sake or whatever the fuck. You know, I mean, they have an option where you can hide them if you want. Because I know for some countries, like Germany especially, like, that option is just forced, you know. So, I mean, obviously just due to circumstances. But either way, it's just like, I mean... like, Vanguard seems like it was just a somewhat fucked up, sad missed opportunity, because it looked like it had potential. The gunsmith should have been taken out. They should have actually had, like, a more expansive campaign / single player, instead of doing, like, the, oh, we have, like, this cool, unique super team or some shit. They should have just done, like, hey, here's different perspectives of, you know, these different people and shit, you know, just from their sides of the war, and even have a German guy in there, too. You know, have, like, a guy who's come to, like, you know, have seeds of doubt, you know, due to the fucking, you know, regime and due to the war, and, you know, and starts seeing some of these atrocities as he starts retreating back into Germany, like, make it take place in Silo Heights or something. You know, like, on his, you know, one of the cutscenes on his way back, he happens, you know, march past one of those camps or something, you know, and realize, oh, fuck, wow, are we actually, this is what we've been fighting for? Like, oh, fuck, you know? I mean, because I was thinking about, because I saw a movie, well, I didn't, see, I saw, various different scenes of it, but it's actually on YouTube, Stalingrad. It's, there's actually, like, 3 or 4 movies called Stalingrad, but this one's the 1993 one, and it's from the German perspective, but it's probably one of the more realistic aspects of, you know, these type of perspectives of war, and so it's a big, very staunch anti-war film as well. And there was one point, there was like a firing squad scene, and there was a few Germans on the firing line that were like, you know, these civilians are being executed for sabotage, just bullshit. I saw them, and they were just trying to grab food. And the other one's like, there's a boy up there, I can't do this. You know, and there were like a few of the men on the line were like, there's no way I can fucking do this shit. I mean, obviously, it kind of does. It still disproves the whole clean Wehrmacht myth because they're still doing firing squad shit. But there were men who just saw that shit and were like, I can't do this. What the fuck are you doing? There's just no way I can just fucking aim a rifle at this person just sitting there. Like, I mean, there were some people that just were like that, and there were reprimations and fucking repercussions for that. Like, German soldiers were either mocked, fucking put at lesser posts, or put, you know, into some sort of a punishment. They weren't killed, but they were usually punished in some way. Because of manpower problems, they couldn't just execute them too. So, you know, they reprimanded them other ways. But straight up, though, like, I mean, there were people like that, and they were reprimanded for it. Which is fucked, which also, again, proves that there wasn't a clean Wehrmacht myth, but nonetheless, there were people like that that did not approve of all these fucking atrocities that did happen.
Hello.
Which is just really fucked. It just, you know, it shows that, like, when it comes to these type of things, you know, war's fucking messy and shit. And when it comes to these type of war games, stuff like Battlefield 5, you know, at least with the German campaign side of it, it really kind of shows that. Because in that, you know, in that campaign, or at least in that specific mission, you have a tank crew, and you have this old, and you have... Zukov, get over here!
Enough with the snooting, you bonehead.
Sit. Sit. Dork. He's trying to, I forget the name, but there's a game where you play as a German who's trying to overthrow Nazis.
Snot up my back.
I think I know what you're talking about.
No.
I don't know what game it's called, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Mr. Snot up the back.
I know with, but anyway, what was I fucking saying? Oh, with, at least with, like, the Battlefield 5, like, German aspect of the campaign and shit, like, what I liked about it was, like, you have, like, this German tank crew, you have, like, two Grizzle-hardened veterans and shit, one of them, obviously, kind of being, like, this hierarchical, like, administrative type being the commander, you have one who's just kind of a grizzled commoner, the driver, and you have a Hitler Youth ideologue, you know, one of their new recruits, and then you have another recruit who isn't like that, but very scared and skeptical and fearful and doesn't want to fight. Like, you have two youthful types who come from totally different spectrums, and then you have two old grizzled fighters and shit who've been there since the start, and they themselves are, you know, kind of fighting in their own minds about, you know, like, their ideas and shit. You know, so it's just like, I mean, and throughout the whole campaign, you see a lot of that get shattered while, you know, the ideologue kid, you know, is still the ideologue kid, basically. You know, showing, like, how much, you know, fervor, even to the end, you know, was pushed onto the fucking populace. And how much destruction and death and fucking despair that came from such shit. Because, you know, you saw, like, you know, as the tank driving through Berlin, like, you know, just Berlin basically just ashes, fucking, you know, like, I think one scene there was, like, you know, some civilian mourning over his dead wife and shit, looking up with this fucking sneer at the fucking commander as they're driving by, just like, fuck you, you did this type of look. Like, I mean, just like, I mean, just a real look of just, like, sinister fuck you, you know, just because of, you know, the whole shit. I mean, it's just like, damn. Like, I mean, that's what I loved about, and honestly, even amongst the community of Battlefield fans, like, that mission is probably the best one they did, and honestly, I think that really shows, because I think campaigns / like missions like that, you know, that are done regardless of what perspective, I think are the most realistic, and I think people like that. Like, they like the arcadey aspect of the game, but they also want a little realism to it too. I mean, especially when it comes to these, like, World War II based games. I mean, honestly, that's, like, some basic stuff. I mean, it's not that hard to, like, achieve in my mind. It really shouldn't. There's plenty of footage, there's plenty of documents, there's so much, just a plethora of shit to show you that. I mean, so it shouldn't be hard to recreate that and emulate it. Like, World at War, at least to me, that's like my favorite Call of Duty period, because it emulated so much of that. I mean, and got it right. I mean, so it's just like, it's like, come on, game developers. Like, I mean, if you're actually going to try to do this whole, like, historical accuracy shit, or at least, you know, try to, you know, make it a kinship towards that, actually do it. You know, and actually, you know, it doesn't mean you have to just, you know, go all out and be like, nope, you know, it's just all, like, white American dudes, or, you know, just all white Soviet guys, you know, fighting to dastardly, you know, just evil Nazis or some shit, whatever. Just, like, there's ways to make it realistic, because there was definitely plenty of partisans, women who fought. There was, you know, saboteurs and shit. There was, you know, some, like, honestly, there's different little stories, like Jack Churchill, for example. Like, there's, like, a dude who literally fought with an umbrella and a bowler hat in World War II as a Soviet, not Soviet, as a British SAS commando. Like, I mean, there's a lot of unique stories out of World War II that you can make missions inspired and referential to that shit. Like, straight up. Like, I mean, there's honestly a lot of weird, crazy shit that you can find, you know, during World War II that you can make missions and emulate that make it a little fanciful on the surface of it, but if you actually look, be like, oh shit, this is, you know, touching on the guy who fought, you know, with the British Commandos with literally an umbrella and a bowler hat. You know, because you have to still be gentlemanly in the art of war, yeah, I guess, you know, or some shit. So, I mean, if you want, even if you want to make like a crazy, weird looking, you know, weird mission or something kind of unique, or something like that for a World War II mission, you know, you can make it, you know, like that. I mean, there's ways to do it for sure. Where you have like this weird team of dudes, you know, going out there doing some shit, because that happens. But, I mean, there's a way to make it kind of realistic. Instead of having, like, yeah, we got, like, a Brit, a Soviet, a Frenchman, and some other American, and a Aussie all working together in Berlin or something, like, at the fall of Berlin. It's like, yeah, no. Like, there were some weird teams of people, but that's not how it worked. I mean, you know, it's just like there's different ways to fucking, you know, make it work. I play company heroes, Soviet campaign in Asperville. One mission, for example, he helped some Polish freedom fighters to only gun them down in the end because they were capitalists. Damn, really? Wow.
Okay, so
Brutal.
so tough for me. Well, yeah. Why not? But
Sukov. Sukov! Get over here. Sukov. Sukov.
ow.
Well, that's loud.
Yes. Oh.
Buddy. Hey, stay here. Lay down. Lay down, bro. Lay down. Lay down. Good boy. Quit being the dork. There you go.
Yeah, good poochers.
Let me get a time check real quick. That's 1:56. Well, shit.
Ow.
Basically means that...
Ow, shit.
Yeah, that looks like it's still lit.
It feels like it's still there, too. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, wait. You gotta get to work, so... It's all good for now, at least. So, peace out. I'll come back after my shift and all that fun shit.